So over the last 20 years of working with e-commerce brands, I noticed that they always run into five same constraints, and it's promotion, product, operations, focus, and cash. So today I want to talk about operations, and that breaks down into two categories: space and staff. Today I want to talk about space, showing you what we use to actually store things in our warehouse so that you're able to store more and not run out of space in your own area. So let's go check out what we actually use. Okay, so our first era of storage here is what I'm calling the basement years. So when we had our own e-commerce brands, we were actually selling this clay. So if we just go here, take a look, we were selling clay just like this. Is actually a cutter for the clay. This is what we were doing for like 16 years. So it started in my parents' basement. I went downstairs and I was like, Mom, Dad, what's happening down here? And they're storing all this stuff. So you can see the idea here is we want to fill as much air as possible. When you're storing stuff, that's really the objective. We want to fill all the air as much as possible. So you can see that's doing an okay job here. I mean, there's still a lot over my head, but it's much better than the stuff just like sitting on your couch or on your kitchen table. We're actually storing some stuff here. So we have these wire racks and these plastic bins. This was the first version. Then we labeled each shelf. We don't really use these labels as much anymore. But going and getting some plastic bins like this or wire racks, you can totally do this. I'm gonna show you a better option in just a minute, but this is how we started. And this worked well for us for like 10, 15 years. Okay, now in this era, this is what we used in our next warehouse. This was in 2019. We moved into our 5,000 square foot warehouse. It was big, it was beautiful, but we needed to fill it up with more space. So we went and got these wire racks. These are actually all from Home Depot. We got these and these white bins from Uline, and now you can see we use a ton of these now. This is super useful. Each one of these bins is like $1.50 now. The rack is about $100 for, looks like we're doing 24 bins on this rack here. This worked super well for us, but you can still see there's a lot of vertical space that we're not filling. And we didn't have a forklift at the time, so we couldn't fill any higher than what a person could reach. But this worked pretty well for us for a long time. This is like the thing that we used all over the place in our second warehouse. So next we're gonna go check out what we use now to fill even more space. Okay, so in this next era, we actually moved to a larger building. It was like 10,000 square feet at that point. And so we decided, let's get a forklift. So we spent $800 and got the oldest forklift known to humanity. This thing doesn't even have power steering. My dad and I, we got way stronger on the left side of our bodies because we have to use that manual crank. But the idea here is that, again, we want to fill as much air as possible. We want to get as dense as possible with our storage. So we got the forklift, and once we got the forklift, then we also got more pallet racking. So this pallet racking right here enabled us to go higher up in the air. And in our old building, the ceiling was only about 12 feet high, but we were still able to double stack because we just want to fill as much air as possible. So we went to like a junkyard, it wasn't a junkyard, but they're a reseller of used stuff. It got this material here. It was really cheap. It was a good price for us. We still use a lot of it today, so buying used pallet racking is a great option. Again, the whole idea here, we just want to fill as much of our air as possible because air is just empty space, and we want to fill as much space in our warehouse as possible. All right, so also in our forklift era, the other thing we did is we started making this case racking. So we have lots of SKUs, and sometimes when we have so many SKUs, we don't want them all mixed on one pallet because we would just be digging through the pallet to get to the right SKUs. So we do it by case instead. So we put the SKU and the quantity on the outside of the box. This is actually huge for us, right? It seems really simple, but it was really big. The second thing that we do is when a box is closed, we know that the count on the outside of the box is exactly correct. So again, like now we're going up higher than my head here. We go get a ladder, and if we want to get stuff off the top, we can. It's pretty easy. The whole idea is how can we fill as much air as possible and get to our stuff efficiently and quickly. All right, this last era, this is like the present. This is where we are in our building right now and why I'm missing. We use a lot of this where we have multi-level pallet racking with bins on top of it. So we're trying to just get as dense as we can with the inventory. We have these mini bins for lots of SKUs that are small, like these inserts, or we also have these larger bins for larger items that we want to replenish less often. You can also see that now we're going up above my head. There's still a lot of space above us, so theoretically in the future, we could even go higher up here and add some pallets over people's heads like this, but we don't need to do that right now. And also, it would make our aisles wider. wide aisles are not great because the wider the aisle, the more space it's used as an aisle and not as a shelf. So narrow aisles, that's kind of the balance that you need to play. This is what we do a lot of now. You can see this whole row right here is just lots of bins. Again, so the idea here is we want to be as efficient, as dense, and as high as we can with our storage so we can store as much as possible. So my goal with these videos is just to give as much value as I can to you in excess of what you give back to me. So that's always what we're trying to do, just give away more than what we get back. So if you're thinking about how can I store more stuff or different solutions that are available, reach out. I would love to talk. Name is jake@ecoship.com. You can email me anytime. Happy to talk about this stuff. It is genuinely fun to me. Figuring out all this stuff was a lot of fun for me. We'll also have links to all the stuff that we have showed in this video so you can go and buy it for yourself. Again, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.